All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're talking about a pretty wild idea that could completely change how we think about cryptocurrency. We're not talking about apps or websites, but about walking up to a cash machine on the corner to get your crypto. We're going to break down the vision for a Pi network ATM.
I mean, seriously, think about that for a second. Right now, for a lot of people, crypto feels like this complicated, digital-only thing, right? It's stuck on our phones, behind all these complex exchanges. But what if you could just walk up to a machine and use it, the same way you get cash from your bank account? That's the huge problem this whole idea is trying to solve.
So, this is where it gets interesting. We're digging into a concept from Pi Network, based on an article by G2 Master, that really aims to connect the digital world of crypto with the physical cash in our pockets. It's a massive idea, so let's unpack what it would actually look like.
So, what is the big idea here? At its absolute core, it's about turning the regular old cash machine we all know into a gateway for your crypto. Simple as that. The vision is actually super straightforward. Picture this. You walk into your local corner store, and you use the ATM there to interact directly with your Pi coin. The whole point is making it accessible, making crypto feel as normal and easy as grabbing a 20 from a machine. Okay, so why is this being talked about as such a big deal? To really get it, we have to look at the massive gap that exists right now between the digital world where crypto lives and our everyday physical financial lives. You know how it is. Today, crypto is pretty much trapped in our digital wallets and on these online exchanges, which, let's be honest, can feel super intimidating if you're new to it all. But the Pi ATM vision flips that completely on its head. By using an interface that literally everyone already knows how to use, an ATM, it could just smash the barrier to entry for millions of people.
And this is what you could actually do with it. We're not just talking about checking your balance here. The article suggests this is about real-world actions, turning your Pi into local currency to buy groceries, or maybe taking the cash you have in your pocket and buying some Pi. It could even be a physical doorway into the world of DeFi or decentralized finance, maybe even without a smartphone.
All right, let's get practical. How would one of these things actually work? Let's say you walk up to one of these machines. What happens next? The whole process is designed to feel completely familiar. You'd find a machine, you'd securely log into your account, and then you just choose what you want to do. Maybe convert 10 Pi into dollars, you hit confirm, the machine spits out your cash and a receipt. It's that familiarity that's so key to making it feel safe and super easy. And this brings us to a really, really important point from the source material. This isn't just about making things easy, it's about building trust. The fundamental idea is that by operating in a way that feels familiar and is properly regulated, crypto transactions can start to feel just as secure as your normal banking. Now, let's zoom out a bit. Let's see how this whole vision ties into the much bigger goals of Web3. You know, the idea of a more decentralized internet and making finance accessible to everyone. This is where it goes from being just a cool feature to a potentially powerful tool for the entire world. The potential scale we're talking about is just massive. The article points out that the Pi community is already active in over 200 countries. Just think about that number for a second. That existing global network is absolutely crucial because it means there's already a built-in community that could drive adoption and help figure out exactly where these ATMs are needed most. And having that kind of global reach could be a total game changer in places where traditional banking just isn't cutting it. Think about sending money home to family. This could make it way cheaper and faster. Or for people who don't have a bank account at all, this could be their very first entry point into secure financial services, a real physical bridge to the digital economy.
Okay, so this all sounds incredible, right? But let's pump the brakes for a second. It's so important to remember this is still a vision, and the source article is very clear that to make it a reality, there are some pretty huge technical and regulatory mountains to climb.
This table lays out the big roadblocks pretty clearly. On the tech side, the transactions have to be lightning fast and totally secure. On the business side, you need deals with the companies that actually make and run the ATMs. And then there's the big one, regulation. You have to navigate this incredibly complex web of KYC, that's Know Your Customer, and AML, anti-money laundering laws in every single country. That's a beast of a challenge. But, and this is a big but, the article does strike a hopeful note. It actually points to Pi's existing setup, its mobile-first design, and the identity verification that's already built in, as a really strong foundation to start tackling these exact problems. So the groundwork may already be there. So after all that, what's the takeaway? Where does this all lead?
Let's wrap this up by looking at the incredible potential that the source material imagines for what our corner stores and our money could look like tomorrow.
I think this quote from the article just nails it. It perfectly captures the whole idea. It's about reframing crypto, not as some complicated thing on a screen, but as a real, practical tool that's just waiting for you at your local shop.
So in the end, the article really presents this as a complete reimagining of how money works. And maybe more importantly, who gets to use it. And it leaves us with a really powerful question to think about. Could putting the power of decentralized finance right there next to the milk and bread aisle, could that be the final key to unlocking mainstream adoption? Now that's the vision we've explored today.
To a really big question in the crypto world. How do you get the money from your digital wallet and turn it into actual physical cash you can hold in your hand? We're going to explore the whole idea behind the Pi ATM network and see how it's planning to do exactly that.
So let's just start with a simple thought. What if your crypto worked just like cash? I mean, imagine it. No complicated exchanges, no waiting around for days, just easy, direct access to your money. That's the core idea we're digging into today.
You know, to really get what they're aiming for, you've got to see how different it is from most crypto today. Right now, it's pretty much digital only. It can be really complex, and you always need an internet connection. The Pi ATM vision, it completely flips that on its head. It's all about physical access, in a way that feels totally familiar. So simple, you might not even need your smartphone.
Okay, so how do you actually pull something like this off? Well, it all starts with bridging two worlds, connecting that digital currency with our actual everyday lives. The main concept here is bridging, and it's a simple term for a super powerful idea. It's all about making a digital currency like Pi, well, tangible. Taking it out of that abstract digital cloud and putting it into a form you can physically use, just like the dollars or euros you'd get from any other ATM.
And the process itself is designed to be incredibly easy. It's a simple 1-2-3 flow. You start with Pi in your digital wallet, you go use a Pi ATM, and you walk away with your local currency in your hand. That level of simplicity, that could be totally revolutionary for crypto.
So that's the big idea. But how would it actually work for you in the real world? Let's take a look at your P, your way, and get into the practical side of using one of these ATMs.
So, what could you actually do at one of these machines? Turns out it's way more than just a cash out point. You could withdraw your Pi as cash, of course, or convert it into your local currency. You could even buy more Pi with cash or a card. But that last one, that's the real game changer. Getting access to DeFi tools without needing a smartphone. For making this accessible around the globe, that's a huge, huge deal.
And this whole focus on accessibility, it really gets to the heart of the mission, which is to, and I quote, dramatically lower the barrier to entry for new users. Look, this isn't just about making things easier for people who already use crypto. It's about opening up digital finance to people in places that traditional banks have often just forgotten about.
Which brings us to the bigger picture here, the everyday impact. Because a project like this is about so much more than just a new kind of cash machine. The key strategic move here is to completely change the role Pi plays. The goal is to shift it away from being just another speculative asset that people buy and hope goes up in value, and turn it into a practical, useful medium of exchange, something you can actually use for day-to-day stuff. It's all about utility over speculation.
And think about the huge knock-on effect for businesses. This basically solves crypto's last mile problem for them. I mean, if a local shop owner knows they can instantly and easily convert the Pi they receive into their local currency, they're going to be way more likely to accept it as payment, right? This is how you build a real, working economy around a digital currency. Just think about your own life for a minute. What if you could use Pi to pay for your groceries, get a haircut, buy a bus ticket? When a digital currency gets to that level of real-world use, it stops being this niche hobby and starts becoming a genuine part of how we all live.
At the end of the day, this all ties right back into that bigger vision of Web3. It's all about building a financial system that's more decentralized, more accessible, and that actually empowers users. In a way, a Pi ATM is like a physical doorway to these digital ideals, pushing for financial inclusion right where it's needed most.
Of course, a vision this big is never easy to pull off. So let's get real and look at the path to making this a reality, covering both the challenges and the unique strengths that Pi Network has.
So to launch a network like this, you have to clear some major hurdles. You need rock-solid, secure infrastructure, you need partnerships with the companies that make ATMs, and you absolutely have to navigate a maze of regulations. But the argument here is that Pi's foundation is already built to handle these things.
Its mobile-first design is secure by nature, its massive community can help vet partnerships, and its identity systems were built from day one with compliance in mind.
But maybe the biggest asset in this whole thing is the community. We're talking about a network of millions of engaged people all over the world. That's an incredible force for driving adoption, for teaching local businesses, and even for figuring out the best and most strategic places to put these ATMs.
Ultimately, this whole conversation boils down to one thing: trust. Just seeing a physical ATM, something that looks familiar and feels real, helps take all the mystery out of crypto. Like it says here, this move would enhance trust and legitimacy among non-crypto users. And that's exactly how you go from being on the fringe to being in the mainstream. Which leaves us with one final massive question. With its focus on physical access and just plain everyday usability, could this be the kind of thing that finally pushes cryptocurrency into the mainstream for good? Thanks for tuning in.